There we go. Okay, bit by bit. So all the tech's different here. Sorry, it's all different network, different IPs. So nothing worked at first, and I'm still trying to set it all up. But how's everybody doing? It's July 26th. This is bulletin number 6, 7, 6. I think it's 6. But welcome back, and welcome back to the actual museum headquarters again. So I know I had said I was going to switch to Wednesdays, but Wednesday night I was moving stuff here, so there was still a lot going on throughout the week. So things. Oh, there we go. Let's see. Is it actually coming through this? Yeah. Okay. I think it is. But there we go. I'll just turn it. Yeah, that looks a little better, but I wonder what's going on. We'll figure it out. Awesome. Thanks for the confirmation. Sorry, I'm looking down. I'm trying to get this spare phone going, which was the extra camera. There we go. Maybe. 1102. So just bear with me 1 minute. There we go. Come on. Okay. So now I can turn that camera on by going into this dealie. There we go. And we can bring the two together. And there we go. Okay, now we have the other camera. So, okay, now that that's all taken care of, we can see a little bit of a surprise. Not surprise, I don't know. You might have seen it in the background before, but we've got something that we're going to be taking a look at tonight. Let's see. So, howdy Fordman, howdy JW Speaker, and Gail and Xenosaga. Welcome back, welcome back. Howdy Marilyn. Hope everybody had a great week. I know Old Smokey's had a bit of a trying week. Everybody that's been following that. I hope he stops by tonight, gets to relax a bit. But shoot, it's not been a good end of the week for him. But he said he made it back home last night, pretty darn late though. So we'll see if maybe he's taking a nap. Hopefully he's getting some rest. But so we're back in the museum headquarters. The hope is going to be to start really settling into the office over the next couple weeks, and setting up some spaces where we can actually do cataloging and not have to put everything away in between every single interaction in terms of like equipment and everything, because my apartment space was pretty limited and it's not really ideal for a team working together on stuff. So here we'll be able to get something figured out for having more than one person coming in and out, and get overlapping schedules and that kind of stuff, so that folks can take some time when they have it and come in and help us move forward with cataloging things. Yeah, he said he got home at like 3:30 in the morning, so I'm sure he's tired. I'm sure that was a trying drive. Howdy Aletha. So I've got up on the table the good, we call it the good pack of RCIRs. I was talking to Smokey this week. He's down in West Virginia, so yeah, he made it home from his trip last night, or from Pittsburgh. I don't know much more than that. Just that he made it home. He let me know. But yeah, he and I had been talking over the last week about some RCIRs that we've had our run-ins with over the years. This was a set that I got. This here is a set I got first quite a while back. and I would say it's in the best shape of the ones that I've gone through. This is after being cleared out, cleaned up as best I could. I haven't seen this in 4 years or so, so hopefully there's no surprises there. We're hoping to see everything make it through to the next stage in as great, as good a shape as possible. So the idea will be properly cataloging what we have, moving it to better storage than just crammed in together. So tonight we'll take two new acid. Well, I'm not 100% sure actually they're acid free, but two new banker boxes, much sturdier boxes, and then we'll take some cardboard and we'll cut just an inner framework for that box to put around the rations that we put inside of it, so that then when we put another layer in, it's resting on the framework and not the ration underneath, so that there's like a pocket around everything, so that then when we put them onto the shelves, we know they will essentially stay exactly as they are. And with everything as it's been for the last few years and the years prior to that, I'm just a ration collector. I'm just a guy who liked to have a lot of Army food and then got kind of obsessive about needing to find more and more examples of things to prove points or to figure out, what was missing or to learn something about a particular run. So there's a lot of that kind of stuff, that happened, and I would collect, store, pile. So I just want to make sure that in as many places as possible we're getting things separated and on their own while they're still in good shape. Some stuff, of course, is going to be a little crushed, but I've really honestly been pretty happy with everything we've been opening up. And it's not like stuff was just slammed around and stacked 20 feet high for all these years. Tried to not ever have it stacked where there was any heavy boxes on top of anything soft, but I had a lot of help throughout the years moving things around, and it wasn't always in ideal conditions, so sometimes things got placed the wrong place for a few months. But all that said, I'm going to want to go grab a set of gloves, just to not harm anything that's going on with these, and I'm going to grab some of those cardboard boxes. So I wonder, we're gonna see how far this camera can go. Well, actually, I think we've done it before, but I'm just gonna disconnect this, so you won't hear me. But we're gonna go. No, sorry. We're not gonna make it all the way up there, so I'm just gonna put the "Be Right Back" sign up, and I'm just gonna go grab some gloves and come right back, and we will grab some cardboard boxes and start taking a look at some. I keep saying RCIRs, I just mean RCIs. Jeez, I'm sorry, just RCIs, Ration Combat Individual. So we're going to take a look at some of those. I'll be right back. All right, there we go. So, actually, let me flip over to this one. There we go. And we can bring this over here. Oh, did you enjoy the pizza, MRE? That's all that matters. Okay, well, it's most of what matters. I mean, it's always a shame when a review goes bad, but this is looking about where it was. Let me see. Gonna grab some. Oh, that's right, I'm tethered. Right back again. All right, there we go. I can never tell. No, this seems right, but now it seems like it's super loud. So let me turn this down just a little. All right. Yeah, that still seems loud. Ah. All right, there we go. So we've got. Hopefully nothing new going on here, but let's take a look. No, these are looking all right. Let's just get them out of this box. Just do that for now. So most of these had fruit juice in them, and the juice just ate right through the can. You know, I'd be amazed if there are any. I mean, there might be some out there somewhere where the juice or the fruit itself didn't eat through the can. But this is a great example of what happens, where it just, the acid just does its job bit by bit by bit against the weaker points of the metal, and in this case that was pears, and just works its way till it's eaten through, and then it starts eating into the next thing and the next thing, and then enough liquid's just kind of oozing out and getting all over everything and rusting it up and chewing it up. So this has been somewhat preserved, I would say. I don't know that I would call this a great job. I think I got it started, but there's quite a bit we need to do. I mean, right here, I don't know if you can tell, there is definitely a dust layer inside the ration, so it's not as bad as it looks. Let's see. It is readable still under there. This is just a B2 unit. That's in okay shape. These all had these larger full-day paper accessory packets. So there's a full pack of cigarettes in each of these. Though I doubt they're in okay shape. These paper packets all have perforations or holes, or got exposed to the juice or whatever it was that ate its way through. There's a lot of cans that I'm mostly going to just leave. This one we're going to just kind of look through just as an example of what's going on, but for the most part I'm going to leave these pieces where we can. Just like this is some pretty heavy corrosion going on this from likely something else. Just knowing that this is crackers, cocoa, and jam, there's You know, the jam is going to be at one end or the other, usually. And even if it was like pineapple jam, yeah, who knows? Some of it might get out. Yeah, well, yeah, they do look better than RCIs I've seen elsewhere too. That's why when I say this, it may not sound it, but this is in pretty good shape, considering. And these boxes had just caved in rot in between all the spaces. These are in most cases 3 or 4 cans that were able to be considered salvageable. I'd like to get scans and, get a little research done and determine the best means of preserving what we can of these. But for the most part, a lot of these are beyond long-term salvaging. They're just, we can get something out of them in terms of study, but they're going to eventually be nothing but dust in some of these cases. I mean, this B2 unit, the B2 unit, the B1 unit, they're salvageable. Let's see, this is a. Let me just snap this free. See if we can get it focused on there. Packed by Blue Star Foods in Council Bluff, Iowa. This is a chicken. I want to say it's chicken and vegetables in broth. So let's see, what are we? Any guesses in there? Let's see, chicken. Yeah, I think it just says chicken with vegetables in something broth. It's hard to tell. That part definitely says vegetables. Oh, Fred. That's my kind of game show. Let's see. So, yeah, these are much more readable, comparatively. But this one is actually stamped on the can Paris. Let's see. From the right angle, you can catch it. Doesn't say bears, I promise. Let's see. Oh, yep, there we go. Close that, just in case it gets a little louder. So we're just going to take a look through and get a feel for where each of these is. If there's anything that needs to be corrected before they go into a more permanent box. Let's get this situated. All right, so that's the first one. They each came with 3 of these spoons. I'm just going to be careful with this. The packaging was able to get mostly cleaned up, so I kept it intact wherever I could. But each of these is a 24-hour ration for one man. So they had 3 spoons for the 3 meals. They had a whole pack of cigarettes to cover your whole day. They had multiple B units to give you accessories throughout the day, give you your coffee, your cocoa, your various candies and chocolate discs or whatever it happens to be. Actually, in World War II, post-World War II era, maybe not. But let's see. This one looks like the actual packaging is split a bit, so we can take a look in there. Yeah, there had been moths in this whole ration. I'm not sure if anybody's familiar with the whole story. I think I shared it on the ration or the MRE info forums years ago when I opened this.
But there had been some moths that had lived in there that, from what we could tell, had been generation to generation born blind and pure white and flightless. Their wings were just stunted little bumps, in this case of rations. They, were removed as best we could. I haven't seen anything other than the occasional dead one, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's still some clinging to it throughout. So hopefully not. This is, this is a remnant that I felt worth keeping for sure because there's legible text throughout on the top there. It's hard to tell in this light, so apologies. I'll have to bring in some actual lighting in here, like I had at the house. But being able to scan and get what we can from the top of this, in terms of just packaging information and dates and makers and all that kind of stuff will be useful. So I kept what we could of that. Yeah, B unit's still okay in this one, but quite a bit missing. We're just gonna be careful here. Yeah, quite a bit of that one is no longer there. And as much as this doesn't look like it's gotten any worse being stored like this over the years, I'm gonna get these into a better setup where they're not just on top of each other. So we're going to one by one move these off of here for the moment. And then we'll make a box after this next one. This box itself is not in the best shape. There is a whole section missing in the back, but cans are pretty much okay. Got a can opener in this one, just hanging out. Speaker was the manufacturer on this one. We got raisins, pecans, pineapple. Yeah, you know what this is? This is a fruitcake right here. The fruitcake label is totally gone. Like you can't see it say fruitcake, but water, orange peel, lemon peel, whole eggs. Yeah, this is a fruitcake. How's it going, Viper? Dub C, welcome, welcome. Things are going better and better. It's been hectic. It's been rough. It's been an interesting couple months, but it's a good motivator, and so are all of you guys. It's been really good for me to keep working and keep moving forward. My day job is a bit much lately, but it's in a good way. There's a lot that we're all getting to get challenged with in terms of doing things better, doing things more efficiently, doing things better as a team, and it's just been great. And then that all kind of pushed into this, like, hey, it's really amazing what a group of people that have their heads together on something can get accomplished. It really is a good time to bring this museum back and bring that same energy to that. So that's what I'm doing here, and I think it's been good. So this past week with all kinds of extra stuff between work and home and the museum move, it's been a lot. So apologies to anybody who didn't get the memo on Twitter and Joan tuned in Wednesday night thinking I was going to still do a stream, but just couldn't fit one in. Was still moving stuff until Friday, but everything is here now. Everything is here. So now we can really dig in on getting this properly figured out in terms of what's what. So yeah, it's it's been a lot of things get turned upside down. So yeah, I'm not going to bring everything out of these boxes. Like I said, some of them are in pretty rough shape. But here we've got ham and potatoes with gravy. Pop this off again so you can get a look at the ham and potatoes with gravy. And in all of its glory, there's nothing really left there. But just getting these open and getting all the junk out was a good start. Still going to need to do quite a bit to preserve these things over time. So I'd say this is our first box potentially. So I'm going to close this up between these three. So let's get a unmade banker's box started and see what kind of layout looks like it makes sense for putting this stuff in there. Oh, that's my mic there. There we go. I'm not sure. Well, the steel wool would definitely wreck them because there's a light paint on the outside of all of these, and the paint would just it would just strip them down to shiny metal. We could preserve what's left of the metal, but if we wanted to keep the text, there might be some different ways. I didn't think about oil. There might be something submerging. A lot of archaeology takes certain submersion baths as part of the process. I just don't. That's not something I'm familiar with. So I'm sure bit by bit we'll get folks that have more of an understanding of that side of things involved and can help with determine better preservation techniques than we've been using, and keep these things available for display and research for as long as possible. And then we'll pioneer our own. We'll see what we can figure out based on what's worked for similar materials in other fields, and have to choose what we try things with. Maybe get modern things that we don't worry so much about, and try all kinds of exposure, and keep notes and share that. Say this will work best if you want a copy that'll never ever change, but you have to go through a process to get it out and research it when you need it. So we're just making some banker's boxes. Just gonna see. All right, here. Let's see. It's funny. I just saw. I think it was on eBay just recently. Somebody had some, unused quote unquote Vietnam era ration cans, and they say unused because they had nothing written on them, and they had no top, or they had no bottom, or whatever they were trying to imply it was. But you could look and you could see in the pictures the scoring on the edge. I don't know if anybody was just talking about it, but there was a technique for opening MCI cans, and I guess RCI cans before this they might have been doing the same thing, but where you would take the can itself and put one side against concrete or a rock and just rub it around, in a little circle there against the rock or the concrete, the rough surface, and just wear down the lip around the edge of the can, and then you start leaking a little bit, liquid, but not too bad. And then once you got enough of it, you could pry the top off, and you didn't need a can opener. That was just a trick folks used, and obviously the 2 or 3 cans this guy had, that's what had happened to him, and the tops that said whatever they were just gone. So they were empty but fairly clean, but definitely rubbed against something, just cans, and being marked as like some kind of pristine, untouched super cans. So there's always that kind of stuff happening where folks just don't know necessarily what they have and they take their best guess. So you always got to keep an eye out. Let's see. So I think it's going to make sense to maybe put 2 that way. No. Let's see. Seems like a bit much to go in, didn't we? I don't know. Certainly don't want to shove anything. No, that's too tight. Still use? I mean, I got bags and bags of the P9 or the P60. No, wait, what the heck? P50. No, I don't remember the P designations of the can openers anymore. They're not sticking in my head. What the heck? Somebody remind me. It's been a while. I don't think this box is going to be, or these sets of boxes are going to be a great fit for this. They might go back in with this one for now, or with the one they've been in for now. But I want to put a layer in between. They're certainly not crushing each other, but definitely want to put something in between the top and the bottom. I'm not certain that this one hasn't potentially leaked further since it went in there. The colors of all the different stains are pretty varied. P51 and P30. Well, P38. P38 was what I was thinking of. Okay. There we go. And then you got your, the Australian one, the Fred. Wait, is that Australian? The spoon tool thing. I'm back. Let's see. So, let's pop another one of these out. Out of there. This one's not looking too bad either. Ooh, here we go. This fruitcake's in perfect shape. I mean, comparatively. B unit, and then the empty remnant shell of tuna and noodles with vegetables. So that did not stay in there. Then we've got, oh, here's a cigarette packet. So the accessory packet and the cigarette packet were separate. Got it. There's no cigarettes in that cigarette packet. I think I might have taken some out and boxed, but some of the ones that I recall taking out of these were just, the slightest breeze and they would have burst into flame. They were just not at all stable. All right, come on. Got this wire getting in the way. Just bring that around this way. There we go. So this one, it's a nice looking can through there at least. Oh, okay, so this is a little closer to a complete or it is complete, it looks like. So we've got, wow, this is heavy. This is applesauce, and it's still in there. I'm going to put it back the direction that it was. It's a dunking kind of lump in there. Here we've got pound cake. We've got the remnants of a can that's mostly not there. I'm going to not disturb. We've got pork sausage patties looking pretty complete. Oh, that's rough. And there's dampness over in the corner and dampness on the box. So this has got to get earmarked for getting worked on. That's not going to be good. Let's see. Yeah, that fruitcake probably could still get handed out, for a ceremony or something. I mean, most of them, I'm sure there's a core inside that's still workable. Yeah, there was definitely for the sugar and whatever else, the bugs certainly made their way into the accessory packets when this was still lived in. I haven't seen anything since. There is spoke too soon. Oh no, okay, that's styrofoam. There's a few of these that had been in between the layers of boxes initially. Just the packets from the can openers, which had just slipped on through, but they were there. So these came with, I believe, 3 for 3 for 6 rations. Everything here is in slightly rough shape, I would say. But again, for an RCI with all the juice and fruit and whatnot that was that was inside these things, it's better than I would have thought. And then as far as this particular one goes, we're looking at. I think it's a pretty good example. This one is maybe the crown jewel of this particular set. Just in that it's got the best looking tops of cans across the board. So we've got a beans and Frankfurter chunks and tomato sauce, bulging, rough shape. Some of these you gotta be careful; they can absolutely explode, as folks will tell you. Brother was quartermaster at Fort Dix. Wow, pretty close to all this stuff. Here's hamburgers, looking nice and clean. The can itself is not there. In a lot of these cases, anything that had meat just sitting in liquid, it's not gonna have survived. But the top is pretty well preserved there. We want to do something better about all the boxes, and certainly not going to just guess and end up ruining them. So thankfully, everything's looking like it's survived its cross country transit and multiple cross city transits and storage and everything like that. So we got our B unit. This would have been the fruit of some kind. Maybe it was up here. Here we go. Pineapple. Just right on through. There's actually a little pop top, I think. So we got another spaghetti. So there were 3 meals, three canned meals that were supposed to survive this. 1 canned fruit, 2 canned bee units, and in this little side in between this and this, there should have been another smaller can with a bread, pound cake, white bread, um, fruit cake, that sort of thing. So this, none of them are 100% in this set, but this last one I would say is the best example of that particular set. So it was probably on top of the case, and seeing as how it had pineapple juice and the hamburgers in liquid, yeah, it says without gravy, so they were just floating in like a brine. Would have been probably, well, let's see. Yeah, these would have been cooked. Yeah, they were. Let's see what we can see together on here. We've got, apologies for the lighting. Again, prepared by the CUDAHT, the Kudat Packing Company, General Offices, wait, or General of something else, sorry, it's a little hard to see, of Omaha, Nebraska. And then in the middle, I think it says to heat. I'm not sure if that's what it says. Submerge closed can. So yeah, it's a cook, it's a submerge to cook kind of approach. Let me see if I can get a more stable look at the whole thing for you. There we go. Sorry, I'm sure that was all sorts of shaky. Watch out, and stop that. But that one I think looks pretty darn good. And then there's also this this nice ground meat and spaghetti with tomato sauce. Oh, here we go. The to heat portion of this is in more readable shape, at least. Submerge closed can. Let's see. So there we go. Submerge closed can in boiling water. Replace open can over flame. Packed by not 100% sure. Let me see if I can. Stokelyva Camp Incorporated in Dallas, Texas. So this is the kind of stuff bit by bit we'll try and build a database of every name we see on every ration, from when, so that we can just bit by bit see who was doing what, for the effort at the time, and just fill in some gaps. Yeah, cooking over burning C4. I at least heard that. I'm not sure if I can vet that. There's all kinds of stories. I mean, it wouldn't explode, right? And maybe, I don't know if it would burn. I'm not certain. Let's see. I mean, we can't just put one in these things. So I think we'll put them back in. Well, no, one of these is leaking, so one of these definitely needs attention. That was the pork sausage patties one. So just going to put this to the side. We'll put that in the box that we made. See about getting this some attention before it gets any worse. Everything else is looking all right. Oh, nice. Tried it out on Mythbusters. You know, that's yeah, sometimes their experiments aren't. I wouldn't say conclusive, but when trying to rule something out, if you're most of the way there and then you keep having the thing happen, then it doesn't matter as much, I guess. But for a lot of stuff they try to show one way or another, their experiments are just fine, I guess. But I like that guy Adam Savage has a history. He made models for film and TV and whatnot in the 70s and 80s and 90s. I believe he was still doing it into the 90s. So he has a show where he'll do these builds of a day, go from just parts of other model kits and whatnot all combined and make stuff. It's really neat. He's got some really cool stuff. He made like little ships for the Star Wars movies and stuff. Before he got his job on Mythbusters. We're not going to close it like that. We'll close it back normal and going to have to get some tape for. Well, no, we'll need to find a better means to store this. So we'll leave this for the moment. But I spotted something when I was in the. Hey, Smokey, how's it going? Yeah, well, at least I'm not gone this time. I actually am doing a stream, but welcome. We're gonna pause for just a moment. I'm gonna run to the next room and I'm gonna grab a box that I spotted over there with something fun in it that I've been looking for that turned up during the move. I'm gonna put that over there, and then I'm gonna put this crate that's got just that one that's gonna need some attention right there. Get any bits of dust out of there, and I'll be right back. All right. Here we go. So, and another box has not been opened. So we'll see where everything stands. Let's see. Careful up on the ladder, Letha. Alright. So we've got some trays. Okay. So got some, see if you can read it. Raw dehydrated beef patties. let's see, 1 pound, 14 ounces is what it's saying, I believe. Not sure. There's a 14 written after 1 pound, but there's nothing written on the pack date. Some of them have lot numbers, some of them don't. Well, no, wait, they're both lot 8. These are 32 freeze-dried beef patties each. They're just a neat example of, different like large-scale feeding options that had been made. These were made by Oregon Freeze Dry Company. So these are bulk Mountain House, essentially. Oregon Freeze Dry Foods, and the date stamp on them, let's see, the stamp on them is 28571. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure these are late 1971 Mountain House, Oregon Freeze Dry of origin, but pretty much same thing as Mountain House hamburger. And they're raw, so when you rehydrate them, you have raw hamburger, and you can cook whatever you want with it. But this is what I was hoping to find. I've been keeping my eye out for it for a while, and we're just going to pop this out for a moment. This is the B3 oven. And it's not, let's see, so. Yeah, I've heard of these cans showing up in, packs of like 24 and whatnot before. So we've got, this is the info I've got about it. Oven assembly, food warming, electrically heated, type B3. So this is United States Air Force stock number 124-150. It is a 28 volt DC. So how about that for some interesting voltage? Mansfield Aircraft Products. This is a 920 watt cooking device. So the oven itself had a handle. Got a little Bakelite piece there. Let's see. We've got turn oven on, push reset, red button. There's only one button on this thing, and it's inside the door, so I'll show you in a moment. Small IF2 rations allow 15 minutes to warm. So these were this was right around the era of the food packet in-flight version 2, so the IF2. Large E rations allow 25 minutes to warm. I'm not 100% certain what the E ration would be referring to. So when oven is hot, place cans on shelves, leave door open until pushing reset button causes a click to keep cans warm, leave in oven until ready to use. So the oven itself has this little latch up top. The door is not under spring load or anything. It does serve as a little tray. And it's got just a little gasket, just a old like a silicone gasket that's dry rotted, but still mostly there. And then inside, it's more rations. It's a ration can heating device that I love this thing. This is so cool. And we've got our big reset button that they're talking about. So you press that in, and the idea is that when the element is heated correctly, you'll be pressing this in, and there'll be a solid click, and that'll start the actual heating. Make sure that stays right there. maybe not. So I've got to be careful there. That little bit of silicone gasket fell off. Just gonna put that inside. But there's just heavy wire gauge elements that go into each of these from underneath. You can see, let's see how much light we can see in there. Oh, that's neat. I'm amazed that this is actually working. This is sticking the wireless camera inside a metal box. So that's the back of the oven. And presumably there's a similar set under the floor of the oven where the lower level is. So you socket your cans onto these because this is meant for use in flight, and you wanted them to have as stable of a base as possible because in a lot of cases you had to puncture or vent the cans to cook them properly. But these were set to, they were expecting you to not open them, but I'm sure over time people figured out which you needed to and which you didn't. Grabbing a fresh pizza tonight. Got it. Got it. Got it. Let's see. What else did this say? Do not immerse oven. Huh. Not sure what that means. But yeah, this thing. I've never seen another one pop up. I'm sure they're out there. And I'd be very interested to see if there's varieties, that call out other specific rations or ration types. This one specifically mentions the IF2, but and the E ration. But it's just a neat specific piece of ration history. Was the idea of a socketed, cooking or eight can cooking surface for bomber crews. There are quite a few people moving upstairs. Let's see. And then everything else that's in here. I think is pretty much. Yeah, everything else that's in here should probably stay as is. There's some K rations that were set up as a display in my home for years, and then went to Montana State University Library for a display for 5 months, and then back to my home for a few months, and then packed up and moved a few times. So at this point, I'm just keeping those boxed until the next time they're going to go on display. Just they were not the best. The boxes were already brittle. Everything about them was a little light touch. If you get me, it just needed to be babied, and there'd be no sense pulling them out right now and risking crumbling any more of them. The RCIs, I just needed. I had no idea if anything's leaking. There won't be anything leaking in those K rations. They're cleaned up long ago. But which one's menu 23 right now? Readiness reviews. I'm not up to current. Anything after probably 2014, 15, I was starting to drift pretty far. Looks like we've got. Oh, this I think is a biological, nuclear, biological, etc., contaminant-friendly canteen. So that's all that is. Easier to handle under the heavy gear, and you can attach your suit helmet drinking straw too. Same with this kind. So I'm sure there was a reason I'm keeping those in there, but let's see. We'll put this back. bring this over here. Mess gear. Let's see. I did see a box, so I could bring that out next. We got, as far as stuff for like cafeteria serving, I have quite a bit of Korean War era cafeteria stuff. But I got like World War One mess kits, World War Two mess kits, in between period mess kits, Vietnam mess kits, and then a good smattering of like Enduring Freedom and Desert Storm era stuff. So should have a pretty good coverage in terms of that particular kind of gear. Let's see, what am I doing in this box? But I'm sure there's all kinds of gaps in everything. I think I pretty much just had some of most eras. Oh, hey, thanks for that. You don't have to. That's. I really appreciate you reaching out to everybody. I've been trying to get everything up on the Twitter. Actually, probably didn't hit send on tonight's, but now that I think about it, that's what I was closing out a minute ago. For the most part, right now, it's the slow ramping up. So I'd consider this all like preseason, and then hopefully we get much more substantive updates week to week in terms of what's all actually happening. Oh God, Alice Pack stuff. I have the kits, but I actually just gave. I had one Alice Pack, but I gave that to the friend who helped move all this stuff not too long ago. Just the actual pack itself and frame, but. The Arctic canteens with cups. Were they American? And welcome, Daniel. I didn't notice when you jumped in. Sorry about that. Same with welcome readiness reviews. I know I responded to you before, but I didn't say howdy. So howdy. Yeah, we're about one block from the Museum of the American Revolution. amrev.org, I think, is them. But yeah, one block. You can go out the front door and be at their front door in a minute. And just, a couple blocks from Ben Franklin's house and all that kind of stuff. And Betsy Ross's house and the first post office and the first Capitol and the Liberty Bell is 5 blocks, 6 blocks away. It's definitely a great neighborhood for history. So this is a really good spot to be for that. The Science Center is right around here. There's like I said, there's a parking garage that this building butts up against. There's a parking lot across the street. There's on-street parking for not too bad, couple bucks an hour through the meter, but still, I want to see what I can figure out if there's any way to get validated parking or anything like that. I don't think there will be, but something it's something to look into based on where we're at. And then there's a subway stop 1 block away. There's bus stops everywhere within. There's like 4 bus lines or 8 bus lines that cross within a block right from here. So the Penn's Landing interchange and Penn's Landing bus terminal is right here. So there's a lot of ways to get to here. We're 1 block from the Market Frankfurt line. We're 1 stop from the regional rail lines. I'm still using just an old Boy Scout pack. I forget who makes it. I still have that thing. Still works. Pop over to this. So What was I gonna grab? Let's see. We looked at trays and food stuff. Let me actually see if we can take all this with us in there. Whoops. Well, he'll be fine. He'll be fine. That's one thing I like about this camera. It's pretty darn durable. There we go. I just need to keep this thing a little less super tall. All right. So we're gonna hop over into the office and see if we can find one of those boxes with more mess kits and stuff. So I'm going to leave this running here. You can hear me through the desktop speaker too. I wonder how that sounds by comparison, but probably not as good. But all right, I'm going to leave this here. We're going to take this one. So switch this around. Well, actually, we'll see if we lose signal or not. I have no idea. Still working, still working. So put you right there. And then welcome to the start of this. There's so much to do. So we're looking at stuff like this. I have lots of there's one in here somewhere that's got. Oh no, it is this one. It's just a serving ready kit, but this quite a few of these trays. There was a point where I was thinking as a Kickstarter kind of reward or like a GoFundMe reward tier, maybe you could get an entire review set with the bowl, the cup, the tray, and all that stuff. So there was a point where I bought a lot of those for a pretty decent price. I can't remember. It's all going to have to get figured back out, of course, but these last boxes were not necessarily organized. They were just reduced so that they wouldn't be as heavy. Sorry, I'm talking to over there. I should realize. I don't know how well you can hear me anymore. I'm kind of gotten in the weeds. What was I looking for? Oh, mess kits and B units, cans, LRPs. All right, we'll check that mess kits. And then there was Civil War. Somewhere I saw a box that was saying it was mostly mess kits, Digicam stuff. LRPs, 70s, 80s, and 60s LRPs. Risk edible. Helmets, films. Let's see. So, come back. all right. Let's see. I think it's this box. I'm getting that down here. Civil defense. Nope. Radiacs, civil defense meters, civil defense kits, etc., etc. All right. Grab you. Sorry about that. Still fine, still fine. All right, how's it going over here? Can you guys hear a darn thing I'm saying? All right, looking all right. So there was that one. Maybe it was this one. Let's see. Oh, here's a tray that's interesting in its own right. Let's see if we can get to where you can actually see it. And it's very hard to read on this camera. I should probably have a filter of some kind. Can anybody see? It's a Grumman. So this was 1985. So this one was attached to one of the I think the booster builds or something shuttle program related. There's totems and HDRs and halals. I'm not sure where that case is that I'm looking for. Library stuff. I mean, that's the thing. Everything's just barely in here at the moment. I'm going to take this over to the room and grab you guys and be right back. Oh, there we go. All right. Grab that. And here we go. Sort of like a bunker in here. All right. Let's see what we got. Well, have a good one, Readiness Reviews. Sorry if I missed you already. Oh, you noticed the trays. There's a lot of trays. Yeah, there are a lot of UGRs. I wonder if any are still edible at this point. They weren't really meant to last this long. But let's see. We've got potentially ration related. You know, we've got some of these classics. You know, we've got our condiment tin, you know, our bacon ration tin, model 1916. World War One. Let me see. Let me get this a little more space. Space Force history, yeah. So it looks like I've got a handful of different bits and pieces, and I know I have at least one more kit. So we've got a couple varieties of older kits. So this is a model 1919. Oh, and I'm not on the right microphone, but it doesn't sound too bad, and that's all right. So this is a model 1919 mess kit. So this post World War One. But just barely. Actually, let's see. It's a little stuck. I don't want to pry too much. I'm going to leave it be just for now. But here's one that's open. You know, it's just a frying pan essentially, and a bowl. The handle on the 1919 is very thick compared to, say, like the 1945, which had the compartmentalized bowl section, or removable section. But this one's a 1944. Oops, sorry, almost out of power. Shoot. Let's see. All right. You don't have to yell, computer. I can get power. Think in time, I hope. There we go. And crisis averted. So I wonder if it's been getting choppy or anything because of that. Hey, move that there. All right, so safe again. No problems. All right, so we got a 1944 is this one. 1945 is that one. And then this is another World War One-ish canteen. Let's see. This is in 1918, and this had the canteen cup. So you would slide this all the way up, get it past the little clip there, and then let it drop down in. And then you had a extremely sturdy, cooking cup for soups and rehydrating. So this is a model 1918 can. And it's got a really unique kind of texture to it. I mean, this one's been beaten up, taken a lot of hits. The welding's probably just straight up lead. I'm not certain, but howdy, James. Sunshine. Welcome, welcome. We've got, oh wow. There, see, it's funny, right inside this box I've got this medical pack. Has all kinds of stuff. It's one of the pieces of one of those modular kits that I must have kept. I'm not sure why it's packed with all this mess kit stuff, but it's just happened to be right here in this box at the time. See, B units, LRPs. I wonder what else is in this one. So we've got a can pretty well packed right here that probably something. Oh, this looks like water. No, this is biscuits. Yeah, some of those old medical packets that have like the smelling salts and all that kind of stuff, they're really neat. And this insulating job on the inside of this July 1918 canteen carrier. It's neat. I shouldn't get that too close in case there's anything I shouldn't breathe that's part of that, but it's an interesting feeling fiber in there. Alright, let's see, what were we checking? We're seeing what else was in this box. Alright, so this is an example of one that I think got packed not too bad. Looking at this, I mean, obviously there's some stuff that's in bad shape, but it's layered. Yeah, there's some stuff in here that's definitely had a change since it's gone into storage. That pork slices with juices, that has leaked. That con cake roll might have corroded a little more, maybe not. Maybe not. Yeah, I don't know. I don't recall it going in with a crust like that. I mean, I don't recall a lot of the state of a lot of these, of course. It's been a long time. Chicken and noodles. So these are just lots and lots of miscellaneous, unattached, loose bought, whatever they happen to be. Yeah, I'm with you, Daniel. I can't wait till more of our interactions with the space station start and end in the States. Don't have to go through any doing any hitchhiking. We got the American Bread Company, white bread. We got all kinds of things in here, but certainly going to need to do some cleanup. Some of these are not looking safe. This beef with spice sauce is welding itself to the back of this pork. Juices. These are all above what look to be things like B units. Yeah. So I'm sure we could get some of these out of there into better circumstances in the very near future. And then some of this stuff we're just gonna have to cut the bottoms of the cans off, take the contents out, and get rid of them, and clean the cans, keep them in as good a shape as we can. But there's not much that's going to be gained by keeping the black tar inside of this this can of beef spiced with sauce. There's not much that's going to be gained by keeping that black tar alive on the inside of that can. It's nobody's going to try to eat it. Now, certainly, we could potentially overlap something like this with the eats older food kind of community. I see. It looks like Smokey's wheels are already turning. What's the can in the top left? Top left, you're gonna have to. Let's see. Like this one. This is it, evaporated instant milk. Yep. Instant dried skimmed milk. There's a couple of those. So yeah, I was thinking, oh God, say, I mean, don't even make me jokingly think, in a worst case scenario, what would you grab? But see, this seems too loud now, but let me turn that down just a hair. I'd grab the space box. You know, if it was any one thing, I'd probably grab the space box. Most of the stuff that was from even some of the rarest instances of what I have in the terrestrial collection, so to speak, were made by the millions. The space stuff, so much of it is like 10, you know, 20, whatever were made. So I think I would grab that. Oh yeah, Steve makes a good point. It's that powdered milk doesn't, you know, they figure that stuff out over time. I'm sure it's gotten better and better, but for the most part, it's not meant to get exposed to the air and survive. And so it'll sour before it's ever rehydrated. And whatever it's in, you know, like in cereal bars and stuff, there are definitely cereal bars that have that powdered milk in because the point was you'd break them up and you'd add water, and the water would mix with the powdered milk, and you know you'd get something close to milk and cereal. Yeah, that generally is going to be the source of your rancid oil if you've got a problem where you've got oils going bad. Um, Solid choice on the space stuff. Yeah, thanks. I mean, it's just the Mercury or Gemini one. You know, once we figure out where that's from exactly, that'll be one of the oldest possible ones, and then the Apollo program one, and then all the stuff in between, and that whole mirror collection. There's mirror, not mirror. Sorry. There's really nothing like those. A lot of this other stuff is extremely rare though, and there's certainly things in the collection that I've never seen again. You know, and when you talk back to like, you know, World War I and beyond, there may only be a handful of examples of things left. So certainly, don't make me think about scenarios where I'd have to pick and choose. We want to expand and keep everything safe, and then survive any issues by having traveling collections at all times. So there's always stuff out and about. Um, what's the age on that milk? Let's see. I want to say 60s. 25th of, wait, I think it's saying it's January 1963. I'm not sure if you'll be able to get focus on. Oh, no. Yeah, there we go. Let me just do this. Just actually go over here. Yeah, 1963 on that. And that's next to this tuna that, and it's starting to dry out finally. Always sounded pretty close to tuna. This pound cake looks perfect. One of these days I'm going to eat one of these pound cakes. That I may have to do. So I was thinking, so how great would that be? Yeah, if there was anything that we could actually vet as being on Apollo 13. I don't know if there's anything in existence that specifically can be proven to have been on it food-wise, but if anyone had anything like that in their collection that, you know, someday the museum could be in a position to, you know, attempt to make an offer on, or, you know, be in a position to borrow and have as part of an exhibit, you know, temporarily even, how great would that be? But we have stuff in the general era. We have one Apollo era ration that was potentially on one of the flights. I think the estimate was 10, but um, I'd have to double check the date on the actual ration itself if that one has one. But yeah, if you want a pound cake, you know, an MCI pound cake that's going to be as good as it can be, you know, that's your best bet, right? It's the end of that run. Um, I was thinking with these cans here, um, if we did have, say, some kind of cleaning event where a bunch of uh, reviewers in general area, folks that could physically make it to Philly, all showed up, and we all had our protective gear for in case anything was like, the walking plague on the inside of one of these cans. But we open them up and attempt to get the contents out, clean them, and get them ready for permanent storage and display capability so that we know they're not going to ever get any worse, or continue to rust or get degraded or anything like that, as is certainly happening to some of these right now. I mean, again, it's like, why didn't I do it? Well, why didn't I invent a bunch of extra hours that don't exist? We're doing that. We're doing that now. We're trying to find help and just identify one task after another, what has to get done and what's the most important. So one of them is going to be going through and cleaning everything that we have that we want to keep for display. And if we had reviewers helping to do that at some point as part of an event, anything that was like close enough that we would want to say, yeah, that would be worth trying, we could try, because we're in the process of cleaning it out. So I think that could be something we think about, and that would be exciting and a reason to get folks together, when that's all possible or more possible. Yeah, yeah, exactly, Fred. You gotta work on the rest of your diet to make sure it complements the risks that you take with other types of food. Yeah, I hear you there too. It's I did a battlefield tour last year, before I started losing all this weight. Oh man, I thought I wasn't sure what I was getting in for, and it was Gettysburg, and we walked for 2 straight days, and by the end of it, I was, you guys go ahead, the bus will be on the other side when you get there, and I'll be on the bus. You know, I should have had a chair with me or something, but anything that we do with the Ration Museum office, we've got at least this conference room with all our chairs in it, and then we've got the museum room next door that I'll have a bunch of chairs and table space in soon. Right now, it's all just boxes and that space in the center, like you could see. But I'm going to put a couple more shelves down the middle, I think, and I'm going to put a card table, or at least a workspace in there, for now. And then bit by bit over time, there's the possibility of getting more spaces in here. But for now, when we need to do some work, at least for the next few months, there's nobody else really planning on using this main shared workspace. So this is a nice big room that we can spread out quite a bit and get some stuff worked on at the same time. Oh, let's see. I never plugged this back in, but seems like I'm coming through okay. Seems like I might be too loud. Let me see. There's the lapel mic again. Let's see what else was in here. It says there's some LRPs in here. Probably a display set. Let's see. Oh, okay. Yeah, this was all in a display. So these are each opened and ready to be laid back out. So we've got examples of quite a few types of LRPs. Let me bring this back over here. And then there's a RCW right there. And I see some MOREs. But here we go. Here's a paper pouch LRP. With the inner paper sleeve. And loose coffee and everything. This one is a beef stew, menu number 7. You're welcome here anytime, Smokey. Taste Right cloves. There's a whole box of cloves from bee ration. So I don't have a lot from the standard bee ration, but this was one thing that I came across. Taste Right cloves. So they're just kind of rocks in there at this point. I wonder how that ended up. So this box is certainly just a breaking cases down and putting things together kind of box. Here's a olive drab plastic LRP. This one's a scalloped potatoes with pork. I love these Mountain House bricks. These are the kind that they have the little cardboard stand and little clip that folds over. Ooh, a vanilla fudge cookie or dessert. Yeah, there's, and it would be just fine, I'm sure. The late run Warnick 2-part RCW. So the MCWs are where they switched over to just the single pouch as one big collection of food, as opposed to the breakfast and dinner separate ones. This is the food packet cold weather. That wasn't an A and B, right, Smokey? And what you have, they were just menu by menu, and it's just one meal, but it's kind of like the case has a mix of things like, well, I mean, with the food packet, I don't know what a case would have because we don't know. We don't have like a true menu. But I mean, with the meal cold weather, it switched to, there's a mix of some things that you could consider all day breakfast kind of meals, like scrambled egg kind of stuff. But the food packet cold weather that you have, that's that like prototype in between idea, whatever it happens to be, that wasn't an A and B, right, Smokey? That was just a meal, like for each one, I think. And it's just some Moors. Let's see. I wonder why these two particular ones are in this box. There was a whole case, display case, that had like 7 or 8 of these varieties. These LRPs. But we have a lot of LRPs in the collection, so that's good. There was one particular set that I was able to get where the guy had 32, I believe, and it's just one of those really lucky finds. And it's a mix of all the different plastic bag eras: the dark brown plastic bag, the light brown plastic, the not tan but lighter brown, and then the various greens. So it was a nice little mix. Sorry, I'll tilt that up. Hey. Yeah, I mean, I guess you could melt snow for sure. Tend not to have to worry too much about that. They didn't want the water in the rations themselves, so they didn't go through a freeze-thaw cycle in the food and ruin the food. So I would think you're going to be heating them up potentially in a stove over a fire, because chemical heaters don't work super great in the cold. Anything like that, like the hexane tab stuff, the sterno stuff, all that stuff works less the more and more frigid it gets. So the MCWs at least are meant to be rough handled. I mean, are meant to be more readily rough handled at extreme temperatures than, say, regular MREs, because they would crack, burst, tear, whatever. And then the other side is the the food itself, when the water inside completely freezes, it turns into this spiky nightmare that stabs through all the more delicate bits of the food itself, so that when it all thaws back out, there's all these holes in everything, and all the portions of the food that would have maintained moisture themselves or kept juice or whatever inside, they've now been punctured, and they're all going to kind of leak. So that's what that mush and mesh, that mealy kind of result is when something freezes and thaws that isn't necessarily meant to do it. Oh, I'm missing something in the chat. I hope, James, I hope you're doing all right. I'm just seeing a little piece of, yeah, that's, yeah, Smokey found two. Oh, yeah, I just found the two in that box for whatever reason. There's two in there. There's a ton all over the place. Some of those larger boxes in the room next door are just LRPs. In fact, let's go open one of those for fun, just to look in the top. Let's see, where did I put? Oh, there we are. Oh wait, I can't. I'm tethered now. I forgot. I could. Well, we can always open one of the bigger LRP boxes next week. Let me just go over to. So we've got. Oh, actually, let me go back to this and shut this one down. There we go. So we've still got a lot ahead of us. Getting an actual space is just such a weight in terms of. Oh, I'm now seeing. Don't have to take Dilaudid. Oh God, I have a bad back. Thankfully, I've been doing good for the last couple of years, and throughout this whole weight loss, I've been exercising and getting more and more strength in my core and having less problems with my back. But when it first went, and a whole bunch of vertebrae, one by one, all got out of alignment, and I got a bunch of herniated discs together, like 3 or 4 in the same incident. Yeah, they put me straight on Dilaudid, and then stepped down to morphine, and then stepped down to I don't even know what, while I was in the hospital. And then when I got out, they wanted to keep me on that for a while. And it's like, you can't even on Dilaudid, you can't even, like, you just sleep. I mean, at least for me, I don't know about anybody else. You just sleep. It's not. And it's not a restful, pleasant sleep. I don't know. I wish you the best. I wish you the fastest recovery you can go through if you're in that kind of pain, James, or if you're up against anything like that. And everybody in here, I'm sure we've all had our ups and downs. And I know personally some folks have had to understand what these major breaks and major pain can be like. So I don't wish that on anybody, and I wish everybody the fastest recovery possible if you're dealing with anything like that. But what I was like I was saying about the museum, it's just good to get this weight off and know that we're taking the right steps to have a space where people can come together and help move this forward. We've got a lot to do in terms of getting a new website together that shares information better, or cleaning up what I have, how we're going to track everything, figuring out what the first run of equipment the museum's going to need will be. I think I have a line on some like donation machines and that kind of stuff, computer-wise, but we're going to need to do document scanning. We're going to need to take photographs and that sort of thing. So I'm going to, need to get the museum a decent camera. I have a light box that I used to use for my personal ration reviews years ago, and then started to use it for the museum. So we can, that I'm donating to the museum. We'll just use. I've got green screen and all kinds of stuff for that in case that comes in. I don't know. There's stuff like that, but the document scanning and book scanning and photographing, we'll need some equipment, and then Everything else, I'm going to try and do my best to find donation stuff, desks and computers and that kind of stuff for now. I'm going to buy a couple more shelves for the archive room because once everything's broken into their own boxes and have some space around them, it's not all going to fit on the same shelves that fit when everything was jammed in really tight. So I'm expecting to need to expand there. And yeah, exactly, Fred. Archaeological documentation. We're going to need to just every step of everything just take notes and say this is what we found, this is the condition that we found it in. Here's as much detail as we can say about it right now. Here's its number, etc. I mean, and just down to little decisions like when museums put their tag on something, their own little tiny square marker or whatever that says this is item catalog CA-15-32-B or whatever. I want to make sure that I know what we're doing there so that we aren't putting something on where it's going to harm the item or or how do you store a tag with something when you can't tag directly on it and maintain chain of custody of the documents and all that kind of stuff. Ooh, yeah, none of that sounds great, Daniel or James, in terms of. Ooh, I wish. Well, James, it sounds like you're currently going through something. I wish you the best. I Yeah, I'm not a big fan of hospitals myself. Um, computer stuff is my day to day. The director of technology for a web firm. I've been here for 15 years with this company and got my team of programmers at this point. So I hope to be able to help there, but I need more folks that can take the time to actually sit down and adjust websites and stuff. I don't know that I want to bother K-Man with it. He's still single-handedly keeping MRE info together and keeping that up to date and all that, and keeping the servers online and all the pictures and all that and the Slack. And I think K-Man's probably got enough on his plate. Um, oh yeah, yeah. Okay. I get you. He might. I'm not sure. Um, in Philly, I'm sure we have all kinds of options. And then I'm part. The museum's part of a group called TechSoup, which helps to get reduced cost brand new computers for nonprofits. So we can do some of that too. Um, ooh, that'd be yeah something. There was a case, Gale, in Montana that I had that had like kind of a red velvety fabric as the backing, and everything just looked so nice in that case. I couldn't keep any of the display cases when I left; they were just so big. Um, and it's such a shame that one in particular. It had a 10 or 11 foot wide glass piece at the top, and in taking it downstairs and getting it ready for someone who was taking it away for free, it cracked. So it had just a solid crack through the top, and it was just one, but it was such a nice case. Everything looks better on something like red velvet, but then it only lasts so long because all these things have little crumbs and flecks of cardboard and everything. Well, we do have some community members in Philly. Fred's right here, and Ford man, weren't you right around here? I don't know. There were a couple. Yeah, there were a couple folks that are right here. So that's good. And then there's a friend of mine, Nick Ambergelli. He's unofficially my favorite volunteer in the damn world right now. He's been just fantastic this last week, showing up at a moment's notice to just pick boxes up and walk back and forth. It was just him and me, just one load after another, filling. I have a hatchback. It's not the biggest vehicle in the world, but we could put about 20, 25 boxes in it at a time. It was actually really impressive to me, and I moved the museum about 2 miles, so I liked that because there was nothing was stacked deep enough to crush anything or put any pressure on anything, and for the bulk of the stuff, moving one carload at a time, just kind of creeping it over in the early morning or late night. Um, Oh, you're okay. So you're nowhere near here. Sorry about that. But yeah, creeping the rations over one load at a time. I was just able to make sure that nothing was just banging around or falling down. And then Monday, yeah, I definitely want to get him to join on a stream. He might say hi on Wednesday. He'll be around when I start that stream. I'm still not sure if that'll be this Wednesday or next. I'll try and keep everybody in the loop and get some heads up. It's just a play it by ear kind of thing right now. Um, but yeah, um, we got a box truck on Monday and spent about 4 or 5 hours loading it, and then drove it over and spent another 3 or 4 hours unloading it and bringing it all down in. But that was for all the heavy duty shelves and all that stuff, because each of those shelves has a per shelf level weight of 400 pounds. So they're never going to bend. They're never going to sink down into each other. They're meant to take extremely heavy loads, and that's what I want to get more of, just so everything's safe there. Yeah, I definitely want to talk with you about that, Fred. We have access to Grant Station, so um, I wanted to start getting a feel for the kinds of things we should be reaching out about there. Certainly want to try and approach as many kind of private foundations as I can. I'm sure there's taxpayer funded grants out there too, but I'd certainly want to lean more towards getting people to choose to support the museum if possible. And I definitely want to talk to you and get pick your ear on that. So, or pick your brain on that. Sorry, that's the phrase. Pick your brain. Get your ear, or lend me your ear, whatever. um, Tuesday or Thursday instead. Yeah, so my availability will be pretty much Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So I'm not sure yet. That's why I kind of don't want to lock it down just yet, like I almost did last week. Um, and get a feel for what works for folks. But it's going to make more sense for me to follow up a regular work day with this, because I'll be in the area and I can just come right here and do my work, and wrap up work day and do this. Right, exactly, Fred. I want to keep everybody in the loop, but for right now, there's this is an experiment. This is a little more casual, but I certainly once we're fundraising and contributions are keeping the doors open, I want to make sure we're doing as much as I can to show folks that it's worthwhile. Yeah, I mean, Aletha, you start whatever it is you do all day every day, you start just doing it in your sleep. Like for me, it's lately it's these conference calls. You get these phrases and patterns, and you just can't stop. So you write enough proposals. You say the same things over and over and over. You find you're making dinner and starting to suggest everybody circles back and touches base a little later in the week. And it's like, no, I'm making dinner. That's not how that works. Oh no. Once the alarm clock makes it into your dreams and nightmares, that's it. It's too late. You've got to find something else to wake up to. Well, that doesn't sound great, sunshine. I hope that's not like that for too long. Yeah, and thanks, Smokey. Just piece by piece, everything here is going to be an experiment. We're the first Ration Museum, um, and I like that. It's just pretty transparent, right? It's just we're building this from scratch as a group. We're going to see what we can figure out. We're going to learn together, and we'll get something up and running. I think it's very possible that this year we'll have traveling exhibits going to other museums. I mean, certainly going to talk to a Museum of the American Revolution right down the street and say, what can we do to get an exhibit in here? with the American Revolution, we don't really have any artifacts yet. That's certainly something we'd always be keeping an eye out. I know I've seen things like butter churns and water casks and that sort of stuff from that far back. But there could be pictures and reproductions and information and all sorts of things that we'd get to share. Grant writing is part fiction. I'm sure everything's got some embellishment. You've sort of got to, but yeah, you can't be fiction. um, yeah, there's all kinds of local groups and museums and smaller things where we could put display together. But then there's all sorts of things nationwide, and museums in New York, museums in Boston, museums in Washington, in I'm sure Charlotte, and all kinds of cities around here. There's going to be places where a cultural exhibit about a particular era of time could be enhanced by having a ration exhibit that goes at that same chunk of time and puts a little more context on what people were eating alongside whatever else it is that we're looking at. And there's war museums all over the place in this part of the country that I'm sure we could arrange temporary exhibits with. So the idea would be, from this office, we can start putting together safe collections that have gone through the process of like the cleaning and emptying that we talked about earlier, and aren't going to be damaged by being boxed and travel around the country. So we'll get like those hard shell pelican cases with foam, and get big bricks of foam to properly cut, and put together a way that we can just pack everything and ship it very, very, very safely, and be able to say, here's the exhibit, here's the instructions, here's the photographs, and do pretty much what every other museum is able to do, and make the contents of their archive available for people that are trying to put together something in that era. So that's where I see us for at least the first part of our life. That's where I see the museum's artifacts being in museums and being seen by people, is through loans and traveling collections. And then the idea would be, as this builds up steam and as we get members and people want to join this whole project and contribute in perpetuity, and we have a budget, and we can say, okay, for 2022 or 2023, we know we have the ability to support something on this scale. Then we can say, get our own displays and put together our own walk-through museum, and open up that way. So one stage at a time, we're going to do this, and not bite off more than we can chew, and make sure that we are sharing everything we learn and advancing, the knowledge of food production history for as many people as we can. That's what we're here for. And I'm wrapping up for this Sunday stream, but let me just do some chat catch up first, because I know I ramble quite a bit. Yeah, Philly really is a very historically important place. And when I first was moving here and thinking, I'll be open in 3 to 6 months. For one, I was just, I want to say a kid. I mean, not really. It was only 4 years ago, but it's just, I thought through things. I didn't think through things anywhere near as thoroughly. And there's just so much, there's just so much that you really have to do to get something like that off the ground properly. And it just wasn't realistic, but we're 50% of the way there now. So it's taking your time and making sure things line up and are done the right way. And the very, very first and most important thing was take care of all this stuff, all these rations, for all that time, when I knew I wasn't going to be able to devote time myself to this. So Yeah, I get you. It's nice though having this many folks with us every week. I appreciate everybody coming and and joining in the discussion. You know, even just asking questions and furthering this is it's great. It's keeping me going. It's getting new folks interested. It's giving me an excuse to go grab something and bring it out and share it with you. This is great, and I just want to show week by week that we're making progress. I mean, there were 15 boxes here a week ago. Now there's 130 or however many different boxes there are here of just history, just tons and tons and tons of history, and then just all kinds of great, interesting and unique and colorful and amazing things to share. So it's going to be a ton of fun going through all this. Yeah, good point, Fred. There's a lot of individual, military, sites around here that all have their own importance. There's the mothball fleet here. There's all kinds of stuff. You know, um, there's the birthplace of the U.S. Marine Corps. There's the just all kinds of historic vessels still anchored in the river, and just it's there's a lot of folks coming here to get a piece of to get their connection to that to get their um, exposure to the history, to walk through and learn something. And I want them to see our name amongst everything else and have the opportunity to take a little detour and come visit us. So in the short term, I'm more than happy to work with folks that want to arrange something on a weekend or a night, and to want to come take a look. So just reach out. We're certainly not, there's nowhere where you're going to just walk up and doors open to the public. You have to go through our antechamber security, etc. For this. This is just an office complex here, but it's a nice, you know, um, shared office space. It's a very laid back atmosphere, and right, where we're at is underground, so it's always 65. It's always um, artificial light only. So in the actual archive space, it's just jet darkness. None of those boxes are gonna, go through exposure to sun anymore, and everything's gonna stay nice and cool, and it's perfect for the archives. For having people, there's a space upstairs that I've got my eye on that over time we'll see. That would be awesome. There is one retail space in this building, and every 2 or 3 years it changes hands. So we have something to keep our eye out for. That'd be great if we could maybe snag that when the time comes, or who knows. And then there we go. We've got our public-facing retail space to start for a few years. I mean, not for selling things retail. I just mean in the sense that it would be street traffic friendly, and folks would come in and check out exhibits. Yeah, I mean, you could just keep on going, Daniel. It's just everywhere you turn, every little cemetery in this county, oh, such and 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 such is buried there. Oh, did you know that there's the monument to this and that? It's everywhere. Everywhere you turn around here, there's some monumentally important figure or piece of history, just waiting. Right out behind this building is Dock Street, which is this snaking followed the river where the ships would come in from, or followed the creek where the ships would come in from the river and bank and unload before there were even streets in this part of town. There's the old cobblestone out front. There's the Irish War Memorial. There's the it's just fantastic. There's so much. So anybody that does come and stops by for a visit over the next year, you won't have a boring trip if you're in the area for history. There's plenty of hotels right around here too. Um, there's a Marriott, 2 blocks down the street. There's a Hyatt. There's a couple, just not chain hotels, but just hotels right on Front Street here. There's a lot right around here. Haunted houses? Well, if there's going to be haunted houses in America, this is a pretty good spot for them. You know, some of the oldest stuff we've got. Nothing like Europe, you know, no 1,000-year-old homes here, but. And that's a great point, Smokey. You know, an army marches on its stomach, and you know this museum's part of its main purpose is to show that society marches on its stomach. You know, and as a society, a lot of the gains we've made have been in terms of food health and food you know food quality have been um, because of the need for mass serving for war. So as these techniques and tactics had to improve for World War One, the average lifespan of human beings improved. As they improved with World War Two, we saw another leap forward in the average lifespan because we were developing techniques and learning things that we just didn't run into before. But when you make when you make 15 million of a can of something and you have a flaw in your practice, you're going to see that flaw exponentially magnified and realize what it is and have that eureka moment and change the way we eat. You know, we go from Old City Tavern is a block away. I just saw that, Fred. It's I can walk out the back door of this, turn right, and walk right up to Old City Tavern in like 100 feet, where the country was born, where a few disgruntled folks having chats around their over their beers, after their respective days ended, decided to do something different and try an experiment that recognized the inherent, innate, inalienable rights of people above the rights granted by or recognized by any government, but rights that we all have. And that concept was new. Well, at least in the scale, that we would call this experiment here today. But I know I can ramble a bit, but I wanted to just walk through some more stuff and say hi to everybody again this week. So I'm glad you all came out, and going to wrap it up here for another museum bulletin. And we will be back either Wednesday or Sunday, but within the next week we'll be back, and I'll throw it up on the Twitter, which you can see below. Below. There's the Twitter, the Discord, the Slack stuff. Well, the volunteer form gets you to the Slack. But Twitter is where I've been actually throwing up the links to these bulletins and the time that I'm going to do them. So keep an eye on that, and you'll have a good idea of where we'll be. Also, I'll schedule on YouTube as soon as I know. And it's been great chatting with everybody. Feel free to drop me a line. I still have folks to get back to from weeks ago, so bit by bit we're getting there, and we've got some new museum docs and everything to write, so got to figure out a new board of directors and figure out who can help coordinate different volunteer teams and that kind of stuff. So we got a lot ahead of us, and it's going to be fun. We're going to go through it together, and we're going to get this thing, one step further every week, just a little tiny bit at a time. So it's great as always. So check back, and I'll let you know as soon as I know when we're gonna come back, whether it's Wednesday or Sunday. So have a great rest of your Sunday night, and I'll talk to you all again soon.